Hi, everyone, and welcome to WordStream's live webinar, Selling PPC Services with Data. This is designed with agencies like you all in mind, so we hope you enjoy it today. My name's Amanda, and I'm here to get things started before I pass it off to our agency expert for the content. For those of you that don't know, WordStream does have a software service that allows you to manage your clients' AdWords, Bing, and Facebook campaigns from one place. Later during this session, we'll be highlighting a brand new feature created specifically for our agency clients, so make sure to stay through to the end to see what that's all about. Before we jump in, I do like to mention that this webinar will be recorded, and you can expect the slide deck and recording to hit your inbox within 48 hours. Also, we want to hear from you. We will have some polls and be asking questions throughout today's session, and we love participation, so ask away. Alrighty, so without further ado, I'll pass things off to today's presenter, Sean Cruz.
Thanks, Amanda. Happy to be here. Thank you all for your attendance. I'm looking forward to this conversation, or this one-sided conversation. You guys will have to bear with me. I'm a sales guy here at WordStream, and I'm used to conversations. I'll do my best speaking into the abyss here. But here's what we're here for. We want to kind of share some of our experience and some new tools and some strategies around winning customers, better long-term customers for your agency, shortening your sales cycle if we can, and helping you, achieve that ultimate PPC goal, stacking up that monthly recurring revenue by winning new business, keeping that business on, and adding new customers to that, which I'm assuming is why all of you are here, which is very exciting because those are the conversations I love to have around PPC. So a little bit about me. What's so special about this guy that he'd be talking out to a bunch of people? Little background, I've been in PPC since 2007 when I started a photo booth rental business. Quickly found that AdWords was going to be the way that I grew that business. We tried a lot of different things, but it didn't take long for us to just put all our efforts into AdWords. So over that time, we did 1,200 rentals. As an entrepreneur and business owner, the most valuable lesson I learned was the difference between revenue and profit, which is something that I talk to my clients about all the time and strive to help people kind of find that additional profit in their business. Sold the business in January and actually met my wife. She was a client back in 2007. So this was kind of a life-shaping business for me. Since I joined the WordStream team in February of 2015, I've run about 700 plus demos, so I've had a lot of opportunity to learn about agencies and the different people who work in them, run them, the way that they run them, the way that they kind of price and do all these different things, deliver the services. I've also had a lot of opportunity to practice the skills and kind of techniques that we're going to talk about today. We can kind of hop right into things here. Actually, one thing that I feel like I've learned pretty well is, I look at a lot of websites and talk to a lot of people is the culture at agencies, and sometimes I even feel like I live at a digital agency. I'll give you guys a little bit of a background, but we have snow days up here in the Northeast. I don't know if anyone else is in, typically nice areas, but when we have snow days, we've got our bosses on the sales team who are reminding us that not everybody has a snow day today. So keep going, keep pushing, keep trucking. This is a video that I sent my boss one of those days to give him an idea of what I was working with, and I feel like it represents agency life for some people I've talked to. You can see that here's my son, the agency. You can see here we have Sydney, who I would liken to the intern in this case. Is I kind of get things better for everyone. Selling PPC, using data before data. Let's start there. What we want to make sure that we're doing in this process before we're digging into data is getting context when we're talking to prospects. We need to kind of have that empathy in terms of understanding what they're looking to do and why they're looking to do it. Because the data is not going to close your deals. It's going to prove your story. It's going to back up what your pitch, and we're going to kind of talk a little bit about that context first. Even before that, one thing I always talk about with my clients, let's make sure that these folks are right for you. That's part of getting the context. Like, are these people worth the time that you're going to put into a pitch? I'm interested in finding out what the determinations of people on this webinar are in terms of, are they a right fit for you? Here's a few of mine. Typically, I like to see my agency clients pitch customers who are willing to spend money. They understand that this is going to be a commitment that will be able to drive traffic quickly, but real results are going to take time. So 3-6 month outlooks, something to that effect, because there could be a lot of work going into this pitch process or an account restructure or build out, and we really need to make sure that we're not doing all that work, and next thing you know, there's a client who's really becoming a problem early, looking for a certain amount of leads, or taking up a lot of time, or wanting to kind of jump ship after a month or two. You can really almost lose money with those clients. Want to make sure they're willing to make a change. Nothing's worse than crafting a great pitch and getting to the close and just kind of having someone stick with the status quo and giving you access to their account. Now, there's a lot of people are going to say right now, well, not everybody I pitch has an account. Some of them aren't on AdWords. One thing that I always kind of try and talk through with my customers is, okay, hey, let's make sure that they have all these other things then, that they have that long-term outlook, that they're going to be a good long-term customer for you. But for the sake of this discussion today, we're talking about those prospects who have an account and give you access to it. If they have an account and they don't give you access to it, that means they either don't have access to it, which is a problem for them because they have no idea what's going on in there, or maybe they're not serious about the process. So, quick poll for you guys. Tell us, what are the things that, go ahead.
We just want to get a feel for the people in the audience, though, too. Like, what is the reality of you actually having an AdWords account or getting that connection with your prospect? Do you tend to have it? Do you tend to not have it? We want to hear from you.
All right, thanks. I'm going to give some folks a little bit of time to answer here. All right. All right, we will talk through the results there. I'm going to move on in the meantime. Thank you for your responses and feedback. What are you seeing there, Amanda? What are folks saying? All right. All right, cool. So I'm seeing a lot of people say yes. I'm seeing the majority certainly say that they have access, or their clients have an account, which is great for the processes we're going to go through here today. Because what we're going to do is we're going to use that account to kind of validate how you can affect their bottom line. There's always going to be that case where someone doesn't have an account. That doesn't mean they're bad for PPC or for you as an agency. And we've actually got some tools coming very soon that are going to help a lot there. So let's kind of dig in here. We talked about getting the context of, what are these people looking to do? What are you trying to do here? At WordStream, we call that our gap analysis, where we kind of look at it as, okay, where are you today? What's the current state? Where are you looking to go? What's your desired state? What is the desired outcome for you? So I've got some current state questions here that are very important, I think, to understand, and we're going to tie this into our hypothetical pitch here today. What is a conversion? Right? Are we looking for phone calls? Are we looking for lead forms? Is there something else? Are we kind of considering a funnel and where people are coming in and how we're driving them through? What's an average customer worth? And that could be an average sale price or a lifetime value, or both would be great. How many leads did you drive last month? Again, current state of things, specific questions yield specific answers. How many of those leads became customers? And, do different conversions have different values for you? I think that's a pretty good baseline. You're going to see we're really going to be able to use this information in our pitch. Future state, desired state. How many more customers can you handle on a monthly basis? What products or services are you looking to drive the most growth in? What areas do you operate, right? Is a certain area more valuable to you? If I'm a services company and I'm here in Boston, a job in Boston will very likely be more profitable, especially at rush hour, than one, 20 miles outside the city. So these are things that, especially access to an account, if that account isn't aligned with those, advantages to the business, then that's certainly something that we can use in a pitch. All right, I think we have another survey right here. Okay, cool. No, this is not a survey, but we would love for you guys to chat in. I've talked a little bit about, the information that I think is important to gather. Please tell us. I'm interested in kind of making this as much of a conversation as possible. What information is important to you guys to gather from prospects before you make your pitch? So anyone who's chatting in here, we really appreciate it. We hope to use this information. I mean, you can just pop, just anything that you see, go ahead and chime in here.
Alrighty, I'm seeing current budget spend, total marketing spend. We've got business goals coming in here. This is a good question. What have you already tried and what results have you seen with those tactics? Ideal CPA. Definitely want to know the prospect's key objectives. What competitors bother them the most? What is your main goal? Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Those are awesome. A couple that really stand out to me, that what have you already tried is a great question, because what you're doing there is you're kind of uncovering some potential objections, which is important too. Ideal CPA, super important. A lot of great ones there. I think this is the value. Like, I talk to a lot of agencies, and I can share from that experience and my experience as a small business owner, but I think you guys kind of have the power to really help each other. So here at WordStream with our customers, we're always trying to kind of, help kind of facilitate the community, and we are bringing agencies in on a regular basis over the course of the year to kind of just kind of ideate together. So we really appreciate this feedback. Keep it coming. Based on our questioning and based on the questions that you guys had mentioned, here's a kind of just a little overview of what we have now. So we've got their current lead flow and their desired lead flow. Obviously, we would consider that the gap. Where am I today? Where I want to get to? Their average sale price, their closing percentage. I think the ideal CPA would certainly come into effect here. But typically, this is the stuff that we're going to use to plug in data and numbers to deliver a pitch that's relevant. And we'll see how here shortly. Before we do that, I want to talk about what I would call, or what we would call here at WordStream, kind of the 10% questions. It's the reps here that, close that extra 10% of their opportunities that, are the most successful. And historically, I've seen it's those reps who, are able to ask hard questions, but maybe in a conversational way. And I think that kind of speaks to the, the empathy, the conversation of, okay, what are you looking to do here? What, I really want to get to know you and how we can help you. So here's a few good ones. What is your plan to get there? Okay, here's your desired state. How are you planning on getting there today? Right? If there's no good answer for that, which for most small business owners, there may not be. Small businesses owners, especially those successful small businesses that are growing, they probably haven't thought of it. They're so busy, running their business that they rarely have time to step outside and plan. If there's not a good answer there, that's just gonna, validate your pitch when you're delivering it. When do you need to fix this? When do you need to kick this off, this new campaign or anything like that? Again, these are easier questions if you're kind of coming off conversationally, but this is going to help you from a timeline perspective, maybe shorten those sales cycles. I know you wanted to, your busy season's coming up and this and that, and I know you wanted to kick off before then so you can drive X amount of leads in this busy season. What happens if you do reach this goal? What are you looking to accomplish? Do you want to buy that lake house? Is this, I've got 3 kids and I'm saving for college, which is why I pick up the phone and call people here. And then this is my favorite question, this last question: why? Why or why not? Like, why don't you have a good plan to get to this goal? That's going to be that answer to that question is going to be the reason that people need you. So I think, you know, these are helpful. They come with practice. They're not easy to just kind of run the first time, but the more you can kind of practice this stuff, the easier it gets. So hypothetically, let's say we've got Sean's roofing company, and here's what I learned from Sean through my questioning. Sean told me if he gets one more sale per month, he can open that second location, which he's been trying to do for 2 years. Needs 3 leads per month to do that, so he's closing at about 33%. And you know, what else is Sean thinking of doing to get to this goal? He's thinking of hiring someone to manage that account for him. So this is just good to kind of to know and understand when you're delivering your pitch, because if we can go into this account and we can find those 3 extra leads per month, pardon me, I'm not the most tech savvy rep here at WordStream. We can kind of present that in a way of, okay, and here's why this is better than hiring someone for you too, because by the way, you're going to have to train them, and who knows AdWords there, who can train this person, you have all this stuff to do, so it's just valuable context. Now we're getting into using the data, so thank you for bearing with us there. Keep the chats and questions coming, guys, if you have them at all during this, and Amanda, feel free to kind of pop in with anything you find relevant, but for now, we're going to start digging into uncovering opportunity. And the techniques, the approaches that we're going to look at right now, you can do with or without WordStream. We, however, have just launched some tools to make this process really, really easy. So we'll look at these practices by using these tools. Again, you don't have to use our tools to do it. But the process for WordStream customers is, and you can actually access this in a free trial of our tool as well, which is completely free, 7 days, accessible right from our website. And you'll also have an opportunity to just kind of raise your hand when we're done here and request one. But you can go into our new business center here and just click this button to link new lead. So this is a prospect that you have access to their account either through, you know, a login that they've given you or through your MCC. Plug it in, you're going to get free access to certain set of our tools. And if you're a customer where spend affects your monthly fee, it doesn't touch the spend. So this is, I want to connect this $15,000 a month spender and get a sense of, you know, the opportunity, give them a nice relevant pitch quickly. You can do so and it doesn't affect your monthly fee. Ultimately, what we're looking to come out of this situation with is we want to, you know, dig in and use that data, use the financials, use what's happening in the account to quantify how many additional leads and in turn how much revenue is there currently and in the future. Maybe like a plan A and a plan B, a short term and a long term here. We also want to deliver that proposal that speaks directly to the conversations you had and how the data is going to back up that story. So step one, if you're using our new business center, or if you're not, like, you can run a performance grader for free. The difference is you can white label this and deliver it to your client from our new business center. But ultimately, in under 60 seconds, you connect that account and you get a report on, you know, how this account compares to similar industry and spend accounts. Quick opportunities, quick potential areas to look for wins are greater. The way it works is it's graded over 8 billion. It's probably more, probably like $10 billion in spend right now that you know, we've graded with this free tool. So every new grade that's run is just comparing against all that data. Again, you can white label that. So the first thing that's going to happen is, hey, here are the quick areas of potential opportunity. We're going to highlight the top 3, and we're going to give you all these different subsets, right? So I see, you know, quality score is potentially an opportunity here. We've got potential waste, potential, you know, negative keyword issues, and then the click-through rate. So these, again, are just going to point us in the right direction. So having these to look at, so let's kind of talk about looking at wasted spend. So if you're, you know, in the AdWords tools, you're looking in the search terms for this. If you're using WordStream, you're digging into QueryStream, which is our own version of the search terms report, designed to just make it faster and easier to find these opportunities and to take action. What we're going to do is we're going to use these target keywords here, this column where we're actually matching up what was searched here in this column on the left versus, well, what's the keyword that's driving this traffic to, my ad to show for this traffic? What's matching me to this? The other thing, I mean, this is from a negative perspective, you can pretty clearly tell right away. Here's an example, like these people are, for the most part, potentially looking for jobs, right? They're looking to work on roofing. So what we're doing is we're jotting down that spend, like how much was spent in the last 30 days on this, kind of calculating that up. Let's say hypothetically, we quantified that and we total up around $1,900 in waste, things that the client just doesn't want to pay for, would rather drive that through organic traffic or not at all. All right, next up, we looked at quality score optimization. So clearly we can see a lot of impressions coming on low quality scores here, a lot of decent ones, but there's some really low stuff. So the grader is going to kind of give us an idea and say, okay, if we improve our quality score by simply 1 point, you could save $2,000 a month just in terms of reducing your cost per click. So in the interest of kind of identifying these opportunities in our tool, we're going to head to QueryStream. We're going to use that target keyword and search query to match up again relevance. And also, if I click on this icon that you see here, right down the middle of that screenshot, we're going to show the ad that was shown to this traffic. So this is a great way to see, and you can see if you can read these search terms. These are all Milwaukee searches, where you can see the keyword does not reflect Milwaukee, which means, hey, as we'll see in our next slide, long tail keyword opportunities here, which should drive lower cost per clicks over time as well. But as we look at our ads, and as we could probably tell by looking at the keywords, if there's no Milwaukee in the keywords, there's a good chance there's not going to be Milwaukee in the ads. So we have a relevance opportunity here to not only pay less by pursuing lower cost auctions, but to have a more relevant account to drive up quality scores over time and just stand out. If someone's looking for a Milwaukee roofer and we are that, let's serve that traffic properly and stand out from those other good Milwaukee roofers who are showing up for the same stuff. So what we're doing is we're using the grader to say, okay, you could improve this much, and that means this much financially, and then you're backing it up with these specific examples that you're finding in the tool. We also talked about long tail keyword opportunities. So clearly here, 90% of the keywords are 1 to 2 words, which means there's going to be a ton of traffic coming in that are different than those keywords. Some is going to be good, some is going to be bad. This is definitely something we'd like to see more, at least 3-word keywords in there. But what this chart on the this greater screenshot here says to me is that there's a lot of opportunity in QueryStream, and there's potentially a lot of ways depending on how thorough they're being in the management of this data. All right, I'm going to stop. Amanda, do we have any comments or questions or thoughts or anything like that coming in?
Yeah, so one thing to just, in lieu of tying it all together, someone said, let me just get this straight. So you're essentially using the AdWords performance report to develop a story and kind of show the areas of the account where your services will then help them. Is that right?
I'd say that's a very good description based on the 15 minutes or 20 minutes or so we've been on the webinar, so great. Ultimately, it's about understanding the client and their goals and using the data to deliver a relevant, truthful pitch. If you talk to somebody and you get all that good information about their goals and you don't have access to their account, how do you know what you can do for them? On the flip side of that, if you have access to their account, the data doesn't lie, right? If I can say to someone, okay, here's what happened in the last 30 days in your account. You said you wanted this and this and this to happen. here are the things that are causing that not to happen. We are going to fix this now and continue to fix it on a weekly and daily basis for you so that we can help you get to this short-term and long-term goal.
Awesome. And then what if you're trying to pitch a current client that doesn't actively have PPC right now? Do you have any tactics for that if you don't have the data to work with?
Absolutely. I think I would venture to guess that every single person who's on this webinar has done that before. Not uncommon. Again, I like to kind of stress, make sure that they are a good fit. I talk to so many agencies, especially those who are kind of adding services and they have clients who trust them. They do other services for them, and these clients have been burned using someone for PPC. So those agencies, may not know to kind of make sure you identify and set the expectations properly, so you're not getting yourself into a bad spot and eventually, kind of billing out your time at a lower rate because you've taken on PPC and maybe you didn't charge enough, or it's actually just taking too much time to manage the client or the account. But having said that, to answer your question directly, it's kind of about using benchmarks. And we've got some great tools on our website around AdWords and Facebook benchmarks, because by the way, these two tools work for Facebook as well. We've got a Facebook grader, and you can kind of dig into some Facebook data as well. But we've got great benchmark info, and actually we are very close to coming out with a supplemental tool to this new business center to allow you to quickly pull from that data that we have and say, okay, typically, an average cost per click in this industry is this much. An average conversion rate is this much. Theoretically, here's what we can do. Everywhere is different. Everyone's different. Every business has different unique selling propositions and service methods and all that stuff. Every business is better at, calling people back and answering their inquiries faster or have more availability. So it's important to kind of set the expectation that these are frameworks. We're going to initially, drive traffic, drive data, establish cost for a lead or cost for a conversion. Once we have that, we're going to be able to make it better. We're going to be able to set a goal and say, okay, what can we do now to bring this down and bring this down? So that's where kind of that phase 1, phase 2, I think comes in pretty handy. All right, awesome. Great, guys. So helpful. I hope the answers are valuable to other people who aren't asking the questions. Keep them coming. But for now, we're going to talk about that pitch. We've gathered some data. We've quantified some dollars here. This is obviously a hypothetical and kind of a quick version through it. And if you want more, we got plenty of people to talk to you to run through this with you. But this is a tool that I've used in the past to kind of, on my end, you pull all this information into one place. And because we love you guys and we appreciate your time here in the middle of the summer, at least for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, we're going to give this to you as a free tool. Basically, in all the white spaces, that's where you plug in data, right? What did this client spend? How many leads were generated? All right, that's going to automatically calculate your cost per acquisition. You're going to plug in that conversion rate, and you're going to have, the number of sales coming from PPC. This is where that lifetime value or their average sale price comes in, because right then and there, you have at least a theoretical return on investment. Here's how much revenue is being driven by this AdWords spend. Over here on the right are the numbers that we pulled from our research in the tool. So we're saying, okay, we identified $1,900 in wasted spend, $2,000 in quality score improvements potentially. So here's what you're getting currently. Here is the amount of waste that I've identified in your account. That would mean around 4 more leads a month. If we cut that, we plug that leak and we reinvest that into the things that are already working, never mind the long tail keyword opportunities that we saw in this data, that we should be able to pursue higher quality traffic more regularly and lower cost conversions. Here's what we can get you now, right? Based on those savings, we figure we see about 4 leads for you just last month. Never mind, the the last 12 months, we can kind of extrapolate that as well and come up with a bigger number. But that should lead to, at least $7,000 in new revenue, at least one sale for this client, which if we think about our hypothetical conversation with Sean, that's all he said he needed to, open that second location and ultimately kind of fulfill that long-term goal that he's struggled to get to. So I would say this is kind of that short-term goal, and then you can, potentially lay out some longer-term plans to kind of also set the expectations early that here's what we're going to do, and then here's what we're going to do beyond that, right? Maybe there's no remarketing. Maybe there's a buying process that we want to be thinking about and kind of setting that up. Maybe we're not on Facebook. Maybe we want to get there. So this tool, Amanda, you correct me if I'm wrong here, but you guys can go download this now. Believe in the GoToWebinar. Yeah, you can go ahead and chime in there.
Yeah, you can find that tool over in your handouts section of the GoToWebinar and download it right now as we speak. And also, this is white labeled as well so that you can present it to your clients. You can, we obviously have WordStream in there right now, but that could be your agency's name. So yeah, this is you. Thank you for joining us. This is kind of like our gift to you.
Awesome. So I think this is kind of a good time to just briefly stop. Does anyone have any questions at this point? Any comments on the tool? Some of you are definitely going to have other experiences around selling PPC that is going to be better for you, that works great for you. Love to hear anything else or any comments or any questions. Keep those coming. But real quick, I think while you guys are chiming in with those, and hopefully you are, let's just briefly cover that special offer that we talked about for you. And then I have another ask for you after this, so definitely please hang tight. We want you to shape the future of these kind of business-related PPC webinars. But in the meantime, what we have for you guys is, for those of you who have a prospect account, you have access to a prospect account now. Sign up for a free trial. Come on in to WordStream. Just raise your hand, and we'll have someone on our team kind of walk through this process that we just did with you to help you kind of craft that story. When you do, definitely come with that background information. What's an average sale worth? What's a conversion rate? Things like that. And we'll be able to kind of put this pitch together. Number two, I don't have a prospect account right now, but I don't want anyone selling into my accounts this way. I need to go in, let me kind of review my account via free trial with someone on the WordStream agency team to, get my house in order, to make sure that someone can't come in and sell my prospects these way. Again, stacking up that monthly recurring revenue, all about keeping the clients you have so you can add to it. And then number three, obviously, no, this was great. We loved it so much. We don't have time right now, maybe in the future. So one last thing for me. Do we need to leave that open for the poll? Or okay, cool. The ask that I have for you guys is, as a business owner myself, someone who focuses on kind of the profitability of PPC and the business model behind it. I love talking to agencies about it, and we want to be doing more of this for you guys. So what kinds of topics, what kinds of webinars would be helpful in the future? What kind of things would benefit you guys, which is what we're looking to do? Please let us know right now. I will start taking some questions that may be coming in, but I'm gonna add my own opinion here. I think I'm thinking pricing for PPC as a service, especially for profit, would be a good one. Maybe we can shoot for a month from now to do that. But you guys let me know now if you're not interested in it, because you're our foundation. Everybody who's come to this one, we certainly need all of you on the next webinar, and we want to add people to it.
Awesome. Yeah, so we're definitely seeing some great ideas come through. Maybe something about doing a case study live on a webinar. Definitely love the idea pricing would be of interest to people for sure. We did have a question come through earlier. They wanted to know, do you have a good way of estimating PPC management hours for potential new clients?
So important. Great question. This kind of leaks into that profitability conversation. I always like to simplify the business model that you guys are working under. We have what we charge people. We have the amount of time that we put into it. That's our hourly rate. If you're a business owner and you take on PPC and you end up billing your time out at a lower rate than another service, you probably shouldn't be doing it. We have to fix that. Otherwise, you're just costing yourself money. So it depends. That's what our tool is designed to do. That's why I think like there are a lot of tools out there. They're all aimed at making PPC better for your clients, but I fully believe that WordStream is the only tool that is designed to make PPC better for your business by minimizing the amount of time that you have to invest to do all the work you need to do and you should be doing for each week to thrill your clients. In terms of, actually, I'm going to ask people to, as I'm answering this question, chime in. If anybody has a good answer for this question, I think it depends on the tools you're using. It depends on how big the account is, how much, what you're working on, what you're building out, what the current project is. How much spend there is, how much data there is. So it definitely depends. I'd hate for you to base it off of, to base a proposal off of anything that I said here. I have some thoughts in my head and ping me after for a specific conversation. That'd be my best guess because I don't want to say something and have one of you price something and end up, making it be not enough time. But you always want to think about that hourly rate. So I don't know, 4 or 5 hours, but let's just talk about it. Let's have that conversation because everybody's different. Is anyone, Amanda, chiming in on the answer to that?
People are agreeing that it's really tough because it's so subjective to each client, so it's definitely worth a conversation.
I think it is important to measure. I think it kind of comes with experience, and I think it's a very important thing for you to think about on your end. I think that's the best way is for you to answer that question for yourself by understanding. And then I think there's probably some people on the phone here who, are more experienced and could look at an account and say, okay, this is going to be a 4-hour a month account, or maybe with a tool like WordStream, it's 2 hours a month, and then the hourly rate doubles, right? So I think there's probably people who could answer that by looking at it, and that's what this is all about is, just building that experience. That's really what everything's about here is like helping you kind of build this experience, extend beyond your comfort level, do more, do bigger stuff, do stuff you haven't done before. So you're building that experience on your side so you can run your business better. Next question.
Yeah, so we have one more great one. Pretty much, they're interested in, oh, sorry, let me find it. Overcoming key objections like during that pitch, what do you have any good tactics or maybe that's worth another entire webinar, but just some good tactics about coming over those key objections?
Yes. Yeah, definitely not a quick answer for this one, but a super important question. I'm also going to ask people to start answering this question for me while we're on here. I'm going to give it my my best best answer here. I've found in my experience, and I've been doing sales for a lot longer than I've been at WordStream, that overcoming objections starts in the beginning of your sales process. It starts with getting the information, what's important. A lot of those questions that we talked about were around potential objections. The sooner you get them out, the more likely you are to overcome them. The worst time to hear an objection is at the end of your pitch when you're delivering it and you're asking for the business. Absolute worst time to hear an objection. Probably not something you're going to be able to overcome. What we want to do is we want to kind of talk through as much as we can consider up front, right? Like, what have you done before? What didn't work? Okay, like I just didn't have clarity into what was going on in my account, or I wasn't sure what they were doing, or things of that nature. And we can always kind of build that into our pitch and say, okay, if you're using WordStream's reporting, we're going to communicate to you what we're doing, how much we're doing each month, so you don't have that concern or you don't have this concern. So again, ping us for a specific conversation around any objections you're struggling with. Amanda, any good answers coming in from this?
Yeah, they agree with you. Someone said that they try to frame it up early with a new client to see if they can uncover any objections before they even happen. What might the client say during this conversation or prospect?
Yeah, and again, if you're if you're coming up against certain objections and you're having trouble overcoming them, that's what we're here for. That's what the team is here for. Let's have a specific conversation. Any other good questions?
Um, We've got great answers coming in that we'll be sure to look at, but I think that sums it up for the questions. Thank you everyone so much for your participation today. We really appreciate it. We're definitely going to go through all of your answers and work through those. So we appreciate your time here today. And just as a reminder, again, this session was recorded and you can expect to have the recording and the slide deck sent to your inbox within 48 hours from the end of this session. So again, thank you, and we hope to see you on our next webinar.
Thank you, everyone. Happy selling.